Welcome all. Night edition of NBA Picks and Props. It is the final night of regular season games for the first half. Now, season's not over. Don't worry. We're not there yet. But it's the final night of regular season games for the first half before everybody, except for people, all of us here on the show, will be going to Atlanta. Yes, Atlanta, where things are open for business and people are engaging in activities they probably shouldn't be at this time because we still are in the middle of a pandemic. But we are talking NBA picks and props on the final night of the first half of games for the regular season. With my crew, as always, not doing it on Friday this week because there are no games this Friday, so we had to do it on Thursday. First up is my man Jamal Murphy, still excited about the Mets, still doing his thing. How you feeling, Murph?
I'm good, man. Still loving the Mets. NBA is a little up and down, but no, I'm good.
Good, man. Being good is always great. Next up is my man Brian Fonseca, my co-host, one half of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, who's actually smiling right now, which is a shock. How you doing, B?
Happy belated 10-year anniversary to Fight Night Champion, March 1st, 2011, and we still haven't had a fucking boxing video game since.
Is there anybody shocked that it had to come back to violence and Brian being angry about something? Because I'm not shocked. It's either violence or video games.
Andre Bishop, Isaac Frost, like they had an amazing story mode, and I just learned like a few days ago that it was 10 years ago that it came out. And it bums me out because like we have the potential to have a really good boxing game now, but it's the same reason why they don't make fights. It's the same reason why they don't make the video games. These motherfuckers are here. These people are here. These people over here. These people over here, and nobody can like agree on some shit. But we got UFC 4, so I guess that works.
Yeah. I think you'll get some violence in forms of video games in your life. You'll be okay. Last but not least, my man Gerard Hector, who is still out here loving 40-degree days like one we're having today.
Listen, ain't nobody care about 40-degree days. You know that, but I will say, All-Star game. Adam Silver's like, look, players don't go anywhere. Y'all ain't doing nothing. Meanwhile, all the Atlanta club promoters got nothing but flyers out with Lil Baby and surprise NBA player. Yo, these fools are going to be wilding down there. And next thing you know, team's going to be quarantined. And Murph, I think, you got a team who's going to be quarantined first.
Maybe the Nets.
Look, man, I don't know who's going to these things out there.
Because your man James Harden going to be hanging out with Lil Baby down there. Bet on that.
Oh, God. People are going to be partying up. All right.
You're going to make a little baby.
Oh, gosh. Little COVID babies being mad. All right, we're gonna get through things really quick. All-Star break, as we said, is right upon us. We will be talking more about that. Another show we'll be doing on Sunday before the All-Star game. So we'll talk about all the All-Star stuff then. Some of you out there want to bet on this All-Star game. I know that for sure. We're going to start talking about something we talked about in our very first episode, and that's NBA championship odds. We are about halfway through the season. The Lakers open the season as the favorites. They're still the odds-on favorite to win, but the Brooklyn Nets, a team I know Gerard and Jamal are getting very high on here. They have closed the gap in terms of odds. So I'm asking the guys here today, are the Lakers still the favorite in your eyes to win the championship in terms of putting your money on them, or would you go with another team? Gerard, since you love KD so much, I'm going to start with you. Go ahead.
Look, I'm assuming full health, right? It's still the Lakers, but only slightly. Like Brooklyn, in my estimation, is going to be better than a lot of people think come playoff time. And again, this is assuming full health everywhere, which I know Brian's going to be like, we can't assume that. Yeah, but that's the whole point. We're assuming full health. And look, Brooklyn closing the gap. Yeah, I mean, we know what playoff basketball ultimately comes down to, right? When it's tight and your fancy split actions and your side ball screens and all that stuff don't work, yo, man, I need you to either get a stop or get a bucket. And that's got three dudes who can get buckets. Like that matters, right? Like we've seen it time and time again. That matters.
It absolutely matters. The Nets now are at plus 300. Lakers, across the board, you can get anywhere from plus 250 to plus 280. The next you can get at plus 320. DraftKings has them there now. Murph, I also know you're very high on the Nets right now and what they could do offensively for many of the same reasons that Gerard is. Are they a team you would put the money on right now, or is a team maybe like the Clippers or somebody with a little bit longer odds like the Bucks or the Jazz? I know how Brian feels about the Jazz. Are those teams you maybe want to put your money on now?
Did you just suggest I put money on the Clippers?
I did, but I know you also feel me on the Clips. The Clips be clipping. We know.
I mean, I put money on them last year, and look what they did to me. We have seen. Yes, the Clippers have talent. Yes, they have better odds. But if you're not going to win, it doesn't matter what the odds are. We already know that this team chokes. They need a point guard. I just don't see it. But for the Nets, yes, I'm all in on the Nets. I've been saying this, all along. Even when the trade first happened, in the NBA, talent wins. Okay, and they have the most basketball talent. I'm sorry, we usually talk about talent in offensive terms, but hey, it is what it is. They have like top 15 offensive guys, easy. Okay, in the league right now, that usually wins. The Lakers won last year. They were the most talented team. They had 2 top 5 guys, 2 top 5, top 7 guys, however you want to call it, and they won. They are no longer the most talented team in the NBA. So I'm going with the Nets, and that's including the Lakers. I don't think anybody's going to beat the Nets if, of course, they are healthy. And I'm with Gerard in assuming that. So yeah, I go the Nets. This, like you said, it's decent odds, plus 300. It's you might as well hop on that now before the odds get worse for you in terms of taking them. And as far as all these other teams, the Clippers, who I just talked about, Utah, Denver, Milwaukee, these are nice teams, but they are not going to win a championship. Okay, maybe the only one, and I'll throw Brian a bone with Miami. If you want to go real long shot, go Miami, because at least Miami has shown that they could get there. They've gotten there. It was a different season. Don't get me wrong, but they've shown ridiculous toughness and great defense. So they have a chance. These other teams don't even have a chance to me.
Murph, why'd you have to go and do that? Why'd you have to go and set Brian up like this to be right at the point where he's going to be like, oh yeah, we're all in on Miami? Brian, is that the long shot? Because Murph just put it for you on a play. This is a layup for you. Is this the long shot team that you might bet on in terms of odds to win an NBA championship? Because we all know one thing on the show: nobody believes in the Heat the way you believe in the Heat. That's for sure.
Brian, part of hashtag Heat culture. We know this.
Oh, he absolutely is. Brian, go ahead. Speak your piece.
I may or may not have just thrown something in the chat. You guys could look at that if you want. Not the private chat. I mean the public one.
I see it. Can you feel the heat? Eddie Guerrero. We see you.
Rest in peace, Eddie. Yeah, in terms of betting favorites, I mean, the obvious 2 front runners to me would probably be the Lakers and Nets. That would be the safe money right now. As much as I still have doubts about the Nets, making it through the whole season healthy, and history would suggest that with Kyrie and KD, Kyrie specifically, like that's going to be something to watch. I still think that if they're at full strength by the end of the season, that they're the betting favorites right now. However, my mind will change if the Sixers do get Kyle Lowry, because Matisse Thybulle will probably be in that deal, and as good as he is defensively, you can't really play him with Ben Simmons in the same lineup along with Joel Embiid, and it just gets clunky and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And Thybulle hasn't been as impactful this year as he probably was as a rookie. So with me, it's between Philly and Brooklyn. I feel like they're on tier 1 of the Eastern Conference, slight edge to Brooklyn at this moment, but it's still the regular season and we have half the season left to play. And then after that, it's like the rest of the Eastern Conference teams who could potentially sneak up and make this interesting. Boston, if they get it together, Milwaukee, if they get it together, Miami, if they get it together, et cetera, et cetera.
A lot of ifs.
Maybe Toronto, maybe Indiana. I don't know. We'll see. But that's sort of what it is to me. And in the West, it's the Lakers just on a tier by themselves right now, then everybody else. Not everybody else, but I would group the Nuggets if they're, if they're actually functioning the way that they're supposed to, with Utah and the Clippers right underneath and things like that. Portland, I don't know. We'll see. They can't really defend, but they do have Damian Lillard. They're going to get CJ McCollum back, and they're a sneaky team who can make some sort of move that's going to help them. And they've been snake bit due to injury, so they're another team that I'm not sure how far they're going to make it as well. But so for right now, Lakers and Nets, not sexy, but they're the favorites right now. But there are some other teams, like maybe the Clippers can get it together because they're not in a bubble, but I'm kind of with Murph. Like, I kind of need to see that before I can believe it.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. Go ahead, Gerard.
Dex, I will say, from a gambling perspective, right? Clips are plus 500, Jazz are plus 800, Sixers are plus 1200. Now, we all just kind of talked about them briefly. They all need to make a move. I don't agree with Brian that Kyle Lowry is going to all of a sudden make the Sixers better because, you still have perimeter shot creation issues. Yeah, Kyle Lowry's okay. He's not excellent at that. He's fine at it. He's not great, right? Your lead ball handler in Ben Simmons still doesn't do that well enough. So that would still worry me. Now, where I think Kyle Lowry would help someone would be the Clippers. If he went to the Clippers and they kept their stars, then I'd be like, oh, that's legit. And at plus 500, if I got money to throw around, why not? Same with the Jazz. They need a perimeter shot creator to go along with Bogdan. But I mean, those guys don't grow on trees, so I don't know where you're finding one.
Gerard, let me.
I know what. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead. And I'll say.
Gerard, let me just say this real quick. It's less for me about like the shot creation, though that is part of it, but it's also like he's somebody I trust in the playoffs.
And no doubt, I trust Kyle.
Right, Ben Simmons in the playoffs hasn't really given you that much, despite like how great he's been in the regular season, particularly defensively this year by comparison. Then Joel Embiid in the playoffs, like we haven't seen it, especially the way he's playing now. You would think that he's going to carry that over to the playoffs. Kyle Lowry sort of eases that and levels that out for me on a team coached by Doc Rivers. So I think that would help as much of an identity thing than probably anything else. And I think there's something to be said for that.
No doubt. And I agree with you. Sorry, Dexter. I just want to, real quick though, the thing with Ty Thibault is, offensively, you're kind of like, man, whatever. He's so much younger than Kyle Lowry. He can chase around and hang with Kyrie all day. Kyle Lowry doesn't want to be on Kyrie or switch on Harden. No, that's a lot to put on him for an entire 7-game series. Again, you're talking about Ben Simmons.
He'll do it though.
He'll do it. And Kyle Lowry and Tobias Harris. Fine, you take those four. Give me KD, Kyrie, and Harden any day against that crew. They're gonna wax them dudes.
I do think it'll be tough. I do also agree with you, Gerard, that I think that Kyle Lowry would help the Clippers more than he would help the Sixers.
If he goes to the Clippers,
not that he wouldn't help the Sixers. Not that he wouldn't help the Sixers. It's just I think if in terms of value more for one team, I would go with that. But I think as you wrap this up, I think you bring up a good point, Gerard, in terms of betting, right? Now is the time if you want to get in on a team that you think can make a move, where it's what you or Brian are saying, whether it's the Sixers, whether it's the Clippers, maybe the Jazz you brought up as well too. Who knows? Because if you're subscribing to what Murph says, which is none of these other teams are going to do it, they're not going to win shit, then maybe you kind of, if you want to put your money, you got to look at the team that you think might make a move.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks for you is if you put your money on that team and then trade deadline comes and they don't make a move.
Well, that's the thing, right? Yeah. You're hedging. Right. You're basically hedging your bet, right? If you're like, look, we know it's going to be net. You're like, all right, let me try to hedge out here. And I'm guessing that these teams are going to make a move. And it's a futures bet anyway. So it's all guesswork. But if you got money to throw around right now, +5, +8, +12, those are nice odds today. They might change.
And also that Miami situation, just the odds, like plus 3,300 for a team that was just there last season. And then you can count on other injuries. You can count on injuries to the Nets. You can count on injuries to the Bucks or whoever else in the East. And if Miami is even 90% there, you know they're going to be a hard out for anyone. So I think those odds, that plus 3,300 is crazy. You're just going strictly off, the fact that they played terribly this regular season, which we all know doesn't mean anything.
By the way, they're gonna make a trade. I don't know how meaningful it'll be in terms of the name that they bring in, but you saw with just Jay Crowder last year and what that did for them. If somebody could replicate that, then you're basically banking on somebody to get to the finals more than you are to actually win it, because they're going to give you a chance anyway. To me, the best bang for your buck right now in terms of teams that I currently think could absolutely win the championship as far as betting goes is that plus 1,200 with the Sixers. But to Murph's point, Miami, because of the number, it's like, why not put a couple dollars on that, especially since they're going to be a tough out anyway. But in terms of teams that at this moment I think can actually win and give me the best bang for my buck, because the Lakers and Nets are obviously the favorites, it will be Philly at plus 1,200.
Yeah, and I'll say this as we wrap up this segment. I even think if you don't look at just the NBA champion, but you look at winners for each conference, Miami, because of what Murph is talking about, and even taking that plus 3,300 to win the championship, maybe looking at them in a bet to win the conference, which is plus 1,600, which is still pretty good odds. And they've done it before, and they've got a little bit of that Heat culture and Heat DNA that Brian loves so much, right? But in all seriousness, that might not be a bad bet. That might not be a bad bet at all if you're looking at it. Just take it down from champion and maybe looking at what people can do in terms of winning the conference. Want to give a shout out to our guy, Eric Chang. Thank you for rocking with us on a Thursday. Good to see you back up in here. Let us know what you think about who's the best value or odds to win the NBA championship. Also want to remind everybody, you like what we're doing, you like rocking with us every Friday and even on this Thursday evening, please subscribe to the Props Network YouTube channel. That's where you can find all the great content that we do across this channel, including NBA picks and props every week. And we will be moving on to our next segment, which you know what it is, second part of the show. We talk about the games, usually Friday night game picks, but this is Thursday night game picks. Some interesting games tonight. In fact, I changed some stuff around before we decided to come on air. First game, we talked about the Toronto Raptors. They've been going through a lot with the health and safety protocols and COVID and everything. That sort of affected their team, which has come in an untimely situation for them because they had been playing so well and they had actually moved up to 4th in the conference the other day. They're now 8th. Things are crazy jumbled in the East. They're in the 8th spot. They're only a game out of the 4th spot, which is being held by the Celtics. And unbelievably, my New York Knicks are actually in the 5th spot, 6 games out of first place. Interesting. They will play the Raptors. They will play the Boston Celtics tonight. And part of the reason I picked this game, this is a very interesting matchup. They're only separated by a game. The Raptors 17-18, the Celtics 18-17. The Celtics have been struggling, but they've won 3 in a row. They seem to be turning things around. At least they're 5-5 in their last 10 games. As far as this contest goes, the line in this game favors Boston -8.5, and that has a lot to do with a lot of things that have been going around with Toronto. The over-under is at 220.5. A lot of action in this game on the Celtics. The handle's at 76%, 55% of the bets also on the Celtics. I'm going to start with the man that has love for Boston more than anybody else that I know, and that is Gerard Hector. Gerard, your boy Brad Stevens been turning things around 3 in a row. Break up the band. You're putting money on the C's tonight.
Well, you know,
Stay on brand, man.
You got to stick to the bit, right? Fuck the C's. But yo, real talk, man. I don't even know how I could do that. Who is even playing for the Raps tonight? No Siakam, right? No Van Vliet, I don't think. Is Nick Nurse even coaching tonight? What's happening up there? Like they got like half their whole organization's in the COVID protocol. Nah, man, this ain't looking good for Toronto tonight. Like, as much as I want to bang against the C's, can't do it tonight, man. I like Boston big in this game. As you said, they won 3 in a row. Look, they heard all the talk. They heard me bad-mouthing them, constantly saying, fuck the C's. They're like, all right, man, we coming out. We're going to show that dude.
It was you to provide the
exactly. Okay. They're like, we're going to show that dude. But yeah, Boston's playing well right now. Kemba's actually played well his last couple of games. They still don't have Marcus Smart, but honestly, Tatum, Brown, and Kemba playing well. Daniel Tice, I mean, I just think with what Toronto has going on right now, Boston wants to continue that feeling heading into the All-Star break. I like them big in this game.
Good comment / question by Eric Chang. He said, is there going to be any interior defense at all in this game? We've seen
Probably
Boston struggle. Probably not. We've seen Boston struggle a lot.
So look at that over.
Yeah, so maybe take a look at that over. Murph, over-under for this, is the over-under tantalizing you? Do you buy that there won't be a lot of interior defense in this matchup?
Yeah, I wouldn't say tantalizing. It's a stay away. If I had to take the over-under, I would go over because Toronto just gave up 129 to Detroit last night. Here's another thing Toronto did. They gave up triple doubles to 2 players last night. Mason Plumlee and Dennis Smith Jr. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So yeah, I mean the game scares me a little bit, even for the Celtics, you know, -8, -8.5, whatever it is. That's a lot to me because Toronto maybe could put up a fight. You know, they are a gritty team, no matter who's on the court. But I mean, you you let Dennis Smith Jr. get a triple double.
Hold on. Like, Dennis Smith Jr. is playing a little better.
Slander DSJ.
Plumlee.
Plumlee.
It's crazy if one of them has a triple double. You let both of those dudes have a triple double on you in the same game. Just off that, bang, Boston minus 8.5.
Yo,
bang Boston minus
Fred,
8.5.
OG, and Siakam out, and I don't think any Nick Nurse on the sideline. Yo, it's a wrap. Come on now. What are we doing here?
Okay, Brian, you're gonna follow Murph's energy of banging Boston to 8.5. Over under is not tantalizing. We'll say it's interesting. Brian, you since you're on Team DSJ, don't know why. Why would you not maybe be the contrarian and go and put your money down on the Raptors tonight?
11.8 points, 5.8 assists, and 5.2 rebounds, and 2.0 steals in his last 5 games. Dennis Smith Jr. is back, Dex.
The Knicks really miss him.
G League.
I'm sorry.
G League All-Star.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, but I will say this: he's taking care of a good situation and trying to revive his career in Detroit in a contract season. No chance that I'm taking the Raptors today because of everything that Gerard laid out, everything that Murph said. Like, there's no reason why I would take the Raptors today unless some weird NBA regular season shit just sort of happens. I agree with all of you and with Eric. I'm taking the over, and I'm taking Boston in this. Kemba Walker in his last 9 games, averaging about 23 points and about 5 assists, shooting about 44%, which is much better than what he had been doing previously. 42% from 3, 92% for the foul line, and getting to the free throw line a little over 4 times a game again, which he wasn't doing before as he was battling the injury. In the 10 games before this 9-game stretch, it was 2.7 free throw attempts per game. Big difference. So that's not to say Kemba Walker's fully back, but he's obviously trending in that direction. They still need Marcus Smart, and they still probably need a big move. We saw reports earlier today from The Athletic that they're inquiring about Nikola Vucevic and Jeremy Grant already, speaking of the Pistons. But I would lean with the Celtics there. Still, Kemba Walker's playing better. Jayson Tatum, not as good post-COVID, shooting only 41%. So I'm a little concerned about that going forward, which might have to put more on Kemba Walker and Marcus Smart when he comes back. But overall, I think the Celtics will be fine tonight.
Okay. All right. No love for the Raptors. Sorry, can't do it. I would definitely bang Boston in 8.5. That over under, I'd stay away because I can see this being a blowout, and I don't know if they'll get over the 220. But I expect a lot of easy layups for Tatum and Brown and Kemba Walker as well too in this matchup. So I can see this one being over pretty early. All right, our second game of the night, 2 of Gerard's favorite teams. We got the Nuggets visiting the Pacers here. Nuggets 4.5-point favorites. The Pacers, this is their second of a back-to-back for them. They played Cleveland last night, squeaked out a 114-111 victory over the Cavaliers. The over-under for this is 226.5. Murph, I'll start with you. Denver, we talked about this at the beginning of the year, but you were on it. Gerard was on it as well, too, about them being shaky. They've kind of been shaky in the start they've got off to, but they've been starting to play better. Jokic has been amazing throughout the entire season. Indiana sputtered, and they are trying to right the ship and get things back. They're currently out of the playoffs, which is why this could be an important game for them going into the break. 16-18. They're 4-6 in their last 10. They're looking to make it 2 in a row. As I said, the victory last night over Cleveland. Who do you like in this matchup with the line and the over/under? Who would you put your money on?
I got to go with Denver in this game. They're just playing better. They are a better team than Indiana, and they're playing better than Indiana. Indiana's been disappointing. They're not even playing to the level that I thought they would, throughout this season. Indiana coming off a nail biter win against Cleveland. They didn't look good before that. Then you got Denver's won 3 straight, kind of like Boston. Been stepping their game up lately. Won 3 straight. Is 2-1, I think, against the spread in that time. This is really more of a bet against Indiana, who's 4-6 their last 10, 3-7 against the spread their last 10. Denver's actually better on the road than at home this season, which is weird. So all signs to me point to Denver as far as the spread goes. Over under, it's a stay away for me. But if I had to do it, I would take the over. If you combine what these teams do offensively, it comes to over 227. It comes to about 229. I don't think neither one of these teams is great defensively. So if I had to do it, I'd pick the over. But I'm pretty confident on the spread. Take Denver minus 4.5.
There's a good point you made, Murph, about it being a bet against Indiana, and that's what the public is feeling in terms of this game right now. In terms of this point spread, 97% of the handle on the Nuggets.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Yeah, 82% of the bets on the Nuggets, which is insane in terms of the total and over-under. 95% of the handle on the over, only 5% obviously on the under. And in terms of the money line, 90% on the Nuggets. So a lot of the public, the public is definitely feeling the Nuggets in this and going against Indiana. Brian, do you feel the same way? Is this overwhelmingly taking Denver across the board in this?
Yeah, I'm rolling with the public on this one because it's just hard to take Indiana right now. Like, it wasn't that many episodes ago where Gerard and I were kind of hyping them up as this sleeper team in the Eastern Conference. They were 11-7. Now they're 16-18. Malcolm Brogdon went through a pretty deep cold stretch where he wasn't even getting 20 points anymore. He's recently picked it up and is averaging over 23 over his last 5 games. And the good news for Indiana is that moving forward, they're expected to have Karis LeVert back. Now we're seeing reports about his potential return in the second half of the season. But for right now, I'm leaning Denver because of all the things that Murph laid out, and specifically Nikola Jokic, who hasn't been able to be stopped all season long. If you can just get something out of Jamal Murray and you get what Jokic does on a nightly basis, then you're going to be good if you're Denver. I just wish that they could play some of the guys on their bench that we keep hearing about, like Bol Bol and RJ Hampton, and how great they're doing in these scrimmages and practices and shit, and then we don't see them in the games. But that's neither here nor there.
Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not ready. I don't know. Gerard, your boy Domantas Sabonis and the Pacers, like I said, they've been struggling. It seems, like I said, Brian's with the people on this. He's going to put his money on the Nuggets here. Any chance you put some money on the Pacers in this one? Anything that intrigue you towards the Pacers at all?
Not really, because a couple things, right? Second out of a back-to-back for Indy, which I don't love. Indy started the year off playing well, as Brian just talked about. They've been struggling of late, so I don't love that. And the Nuggets, they're starting to catch the rhythm and catch a groove, right? They've won 3 in a row, and the public is all on Denver because of recency bias, right? Basketball tends to bet recency bias. They just blew out the Bucks 2 nights ago. So everybody's like, yo, Nuggets, which, they look excellent doing it. They've won 4 of their last 5. They are 8-5 is the away favorite, to Murph's point about playing well away from home. And look, as much as I love the battle of my 2 favorite big white boys in Sabonis and Jokic, I mean, if it weren't for a man named Joel Embiid, Jokic would probably be the MVP if the season ended today. He's just ridiculous right now. He's dominating. I like Denver in this one. I would stay away from the over-under just because it might be a blowout early, and, they might take some guys out.
Also of note, Sabonis is questionable tonight. I believe that's an ankle injury. So he's questionable. So they might need somebody else to step up offensively, which is a lot to do. Although Eric Chen brought up the fact that TJ McConnell and weirder things happening this season. Fan favorite TJ McConnell.
Let me tell you right now, if you count on TJ McConnell to win you some games, shit.
He's been great. He's been great in fantasy. I mean, that line is crazy. A triple double with 10 steals. That's crazy.
I was gonna say he's actually top 15 in NBA assists right now.
So there you go. If you want to do DFS with TJ McConnell, knock yourself out.
Oh,
if you're planning on TJ McConnell to help you beat the Denver Nuggets, no, come on now.
Yeah,
he's not going to do too much there.
Yeah, listen, 16, 13 assists with 10 steals, and I like the steals. I like a triple-double with steals. I know Brian likes that. You got to love that. But I'm also not counting on TJ McConnell to do that again.
Right.
That's another thing. Even for DFS or betting, I'm not counting on him to do that again. All right, guys. We were going to go with a different game for our last game of Thursday night, but I ended up switching it up last minute. And I was trying to avoid this because we've talked about these teams a lot, and this is a game that's going to get Brian's juices flowing, or Lord knows what's going to happen there that we probably don't want to know. But we're going to go with the Heat.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, well, who knows? That's why I'm saying I don't think I want to know. But with you, who knows? Go with the Miami Heat. They will be in the Big Easy battling New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans, strange team. We know how Murph feels about their backcourt. They are the favorites here at -2.5. The over/under for this contest is 227.5. Let's start with Brian. Why don't we just get this out the way? Why not? Look, the Heat, they've been playing better. They got off to a slow start. They're healthier now. They're sitting in the 7th spot in the East, 6.5 games out of the top spot, 17-18. They'd like to end the first half on a high note, finishing at 500. So I know you'd like to see that, Brian. The Pelicans, they're hanging around the Western Conference playoff race. They're currently in the 11th position, 15-20, 11.5 games back, which means they're 3.5 out of the 8th spot. So they're right there in terms of the play-in. Is this a big game for your Heat, Brian? Is Heat culture going to come through? They're not favored here. Are they going to show the mettle, the toughness, and get a road win that you should put your money on?
So I'm a little concerned with Jimmy Butler's injury, only because he'll probably want to sit out tonight and just come back after the All-Star break, because the injury is not really severe, and it would make sense to just rest and get that extra time to just rest up, not play, and be ready for the second half of the season. The thing is that when Jimmy Butler doesn't play, the Miami Heat are 4-10. When he plays, they're 13-8. That's a humongous swing with one player. Bam Adebayo also questionable, though I expect him to play because he's been questionable the last couple of days. He was day-to-day not that long ago, and all of a sudden he played. The thing is, when he plays and it's just him, if other guys around him aren't scoring, he sometimes is not as aggressive as he should be, as someone with his skill set should be, and that's going to be something that I'm watching tonight. Now, if we remember, these two teams played each other on Christmas. Jimmy Butler rolled his ankle, missed the second half, and the Heat were fine. They ended up cruising to a double-digit win, and they were able to, play very well during that game. So I'm not saying that I expect something similar tonight, because you just don't know. With Zion, he's just going to get his regardless. I would hope, for Miami's sake, that Bam actually gets matched up on him, because if they're able to switch, he's going to cook Kelly Olynyk all night and whoever else is at the 4. If they're able to keep Bam on him, maybe you could restrict him a little bit better and at least make him work for those points, and then you'll have to live with Brandon Ingram doing what he does. So we'll see. But I would lean Miami, but I'm not totally confident. It's kind of a stay away.
Kind of a stay away for you. Murph, you are the resident sometimes Pelicans fan, sometimes Pelican hater, sometimes motivator of Stan Van Gundy. Pelicans have been playing a little bit better. We can give them credit in that, but they're still inconsistent, right? 15-20. They just haven't really ever been consistent. They are the favorites here, though, at home. Is your money on the Pels tonight?
Yeah, I don't know how you can put money on the Pels. Like you said, they're so inconsistent. They're actually playing Miami. I think the only reason they are favored is because of Jimmy being questionable.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he plays, if I knew he were playing, I would definitely pick Miami. I'm not saying New Orleans can't win. I wouldn't be surprised if they won, but I wouldn't put money on them winning, because you just can't. They're just not. You can't trust them right now. Like Brian said, Zion will get his no matter what. I'm not worried about that. So that in itself will force me to tune in. But in terms of winning the game, that's more Miami's forte. Winning, I'm much more confident in Miami winning a game than I am in
Look at him smiling.
than I am in New Orleans winning a game. And I kind of feel like Jimmy plays tonight because both teams coming off a loss. Miami's coming off a loss. They probably want to go into the All-Star break off a win. So I could see Jimmy, gutting it out tonight, getting that win. If he plays, I'd be surprised if New Orleans wins the game.
Okay, and so on there. What about you, Gerard? Are you drinking the Heat Kool-Aid? Are you all in on the Heat? Are you all in on the Heat culture now? Will they grit out a tough win even if Jimmy Butler doesn't play tonight? What do you like about this? It's an intriguing line at -2.5 for the Pels. What do you like about this matchup?
I mean, hashtag Heat culture, baby. Eric Spoelstra ain't gonna let them go into the break losing the game. They got to get this win. But honestly, Miami and New Orleans are two teams I do not like betting on, just because I just never know what I'm going to get from these guys. And particularly with Jimmy being out, I have no idea what kind of Heat team is going to show up.
Questionable.
Again, questionable. If Bam shows up and is assertive, yeah, all right. But if Bam decides to be, all right, let me get everybody involved, pass the ball around. It's like, Bam's still learning how to be like the guy, which, by the way, that skill set to be the guy, not everybody has that, right? Some guys have it that shouldn't have it, but that's a whole other story, right? It just doesn't work, right? So it's tough. And then New Orleans, as Murph knows, man, like you never know. I'll look at them for stretches and I'm like, damn, this is the best team in the league when I watch them for 2 minutes. And other times I'm like, oh hell no. Like I just don't know what they're doing. They look completely confused. I've never played basketball before, man. So stay away game for me. But I had to gun to my head. I go Heat just because of the culture. Over under, I'd stay away from.
Yeah, I would go. I'm still going to go Heat here. even if I would go Heat. I would stay away from this game. It's not one I would definitely put my money on. But even with Butler out, I might still go Heat because you can see the Pelicans messing this up. Like you said, they're the kind of team, Gerard, that can look really good and then next look horrible. So would it shock you if Miami gutted this out and we saw a very aggressive game from Bam tonight? Which I agree. Eric Cheng has brought this up in the chat, and you brought it up as well, and as well as Brian. We do need to see that from him. But it wouldn't surprise me if Miami found a way, even without Butler tonight against the Pelicans. And we've all seen the Pelicans look really good offensively and then go to stretches, as Murph has talked about, where the shooting is just awful, and you don't want anybody in the backcourt shooting the ball. So, yeah, I think you got to ride with Miami. I would stay away from the over-under 2 just because I don't know what kind of game this might be. But it's going to be an interesting one for sure. All right. Moving right along, we're moving on to parlay or not to parlay. Saw something come in the chat. Want to say shout out to my man Uday, who's rocking with us. He asked, I'll throw this question out now. He said Nick Batum over 7.5 assists tonight.
Rebounds assists.
Oh, rebounds and assists. Sorry, rebounds and assists tonight. That's an interesting one.
Were they playing the Wizards?
The Clippers are playing the Wizards. Yeah.
Over.
I mean, look, the Wizards have been playing better of late, but they still can't guard nobody.
All you need is 5 rebounds and 3 assists, baby.
And if you watch the way that the Clippers run their offense, right, there's often a lot of like quick hitting and moving passes from one to the other. Now, the only challenge with this one is Batum is often the one on the receiving end for that corner 3 to shoot the shot versus the one passing it over to someone for the corner 3 to hit the shot. So the assist is where I'm like, you might be a little tough there. Rebounds, I'm not as concerned about. But if it's got decent odds, why not? Throw a couple dollars down.
7 boards, 1 assist, Uday. That's all you need. That's all you need. All you need is what Gerard said is accurate. Just make sure that Nicholas Batum hustles, get Paul George and Patrick Beverly out of the way. Easier said than done. And just get your 1 assist. You know what I'm saying? You'll be all right. I hope the odds are good, though, because that's actually a very tempting number.
But Batum, he's very hit or miss. I've had him on fantasy team for like a day here, a day there to fill in. And one day he'll give you a little something. The next day he'll give you absolutely nothing. So you never know.
Yeah, he's no TJ McConnell from Murphy.
He's definitely a Clipper.
Definitely a Clipper. Yeah, yes, he is. Uday, let us know what the odds on that are, because I think that's interesting. New Day's laughing at the 7-1. That's all you need. That's all you need. That's all you need. I'm with Gerard. I can see him. I feel confident in the boards. I'm confident to get you 5 or 6 boards tonight. Can he? Is he going to get you more than 2 assists? I don't know. I don't know. But it's
shouts to the Frenchman though, Nicolas Batum from France.
Shout out to him. All right, let's talk about our parlays tonight. Got 3 for you guys that I think should be kind of interesting. All right, the first one, the odds on this one are at plus 650. Raptors, Knicks, and Bucks all to win, right? Let's look at them. We know the Raptors are playing the Celtics. The Knicks are home, for the Detroit Pistons, and hopefully they don't give up a triple-double to Dennis Smith Jr. That'll be freaking awful. That won't be good at all. Nobody needs to see that happen. And then also we've got the Bucks, Gerard's favorite team. They are in Memphis.
Grizzlies, baby.
Grizzlies playing tonight. Gerard also mentioned earlier how they got smacked by the Nuggets in their previous game. Do you like all 3 of these teams to get a win tonight?
Of course, the one that makes me like is the Raptors. They got. I mean,
not the Knicks.
No Fred, no OG, right? No Pascal. Nah, man, I don't. And honestly, even to be 100% truthful with you, yes, Milwaukee's a better team than Memphis. But Memphis don't have maybe their best player all season, and they're still 500. They find ways to be in games and win games they shouldn't win. And Milwaukee could be like, man, let's just get to the break and get up out of here. Who the hell knows? So, yeah, I like that. It's tantalizing from a betting standpoint, right? Plus 650, but I just don't like the teams involved in this.
Yeah, it's tantalizing. You probably trust the Knicks and the Bucks. Brian made the point to that. And yes, Eric Cheng, we can point out that the preseason win total for the Knicks was 20.5. And Murph and I said take the over, and we're looking great.
Y'all looking great, man.
Brian, my bad. Brian,
I said not because I didn't trust the Knicks.
Yeah, you were being a hater.
You were a Knick hater.
Come on, don't be a hater. Whatever.
Julius Randle's been telling Joe Budden for weeks that it's different in New York now, and I believe him. Now I believe him.
Look.
You know what's hilarious, right? New York, of course, the Knicks still draw better than the Nets in terms of TV ratings, but nationally, it's the Nets, right? It's so bizarre. New York, nobody cares about the Nets, but nationally, the Nets are the team. Hilarious.
It is interesting. Uday, thanks for getting us. That's at plus 108 on that Nicholas Batum prop. So that was interesting there. Eric says pass on the parlay that I just mentioned. Brian, so Eric's with Gerard on this. Brian, are you passing on this too? Or are you somehow going to have some last-minute faith in the Raptors?
Yeah, I can't talk myself into the Raptors. They're the team that's scaring me off of this, and it's only because they're very short-handed. If they were full strength, then sure. Although the odds wouldn't be plus 650, they would probably be like plus 250 or something like that. If that, they would probably be even the favorites against the Celtics the way that Jayson Tatum's been looking in terms of shooting the ball. The Knicks, I'm fully confident in. Jeremy Grant just announced out, as Eric Chang pointed out in the chat.
Yep.
Even with Jeremy Grant, I would still feel confident in the Knicks. In 2021, that is something that I'm saying. And the Milwaukee Bucks, we could say what we want, but will they get the job done against the Grizzlies? I feel good about that. So the Raptors are the team that's scaring me off of this. The plus 650 is interesting, but they just don't have enough bodies for me to feel like they're going to be able to get this done.
Yeah, I'm shaking it. The line in that Knicks Pistons game just went up to minus 7.5. Knicks favored in that context. Murph, Team Knicks over here. Looking good on that preseason bet that we spoke about. Any confidence in this parlay?
No, for the same reason, I just I can't go with Toronto. Who are they playing with? They have none of their guys. They're missing 3 starters. Basically 2 of their star players aren't playing. Boston needs the wins. They're playing better. They're playing harder. The best coach in the history of basketball. Stevens finally, he finally got through to them as I knew he would. I had so much confidence, but no, and I barely trust. I trust the Knicks now that Eric just informed us that Grant has just been announced out. So now, okay, the Knicks will win. I'm not. It's hard for me game to game to trust the Knicks that they're definitely going to win this game or that game because they still lack talent. So anything is possible there. And then today, Dennis Smith Jr. is back in town. It might be revenge. He might go off for he might drop 40 on the Knicks. No, I'm just playing. That's not going to happen. In fact, I would bet he has less than 5 points tonight. The Knicks actually play D.
They do.
They do guard. They do guard.
That is one thing.
So stay away from that.
That is one thing you count the Knicks for. They do play defense. All right. This is a stay away from me too. For the same reason all you guys mentioned, it's all about the Raptors. I would feel great about the Knicks and the Bucks, but that's why the odds are what they are here. If you're feeling lucky and you got some money to burn, sure. For me, nah, can't do it. All right, moving on, guys. Next parlay. This is one with players that should be it's interesting. I'll call this one. I think this one you guys might agree is a little tantalizing here. Bradley Beal and Jaylen Brown to make 3+ 3-pointers. Odds of this are at plus 400. Murph, I'll start with you. Both these guys average just a bit over 2 threes a game. So you're asking them to do a little bit more than what they average here. Do you like this? Is this tantalizing enough for you to put some money down on this one?
Not really. I don't really like this. Out of the 3 that we're looking at, maybe I like it the best, but that's not saying much. Brown hasn't had 3 threes in 2 weeks. Beal has done it 1 time in his last 8 games. So it's not like this happens every day. But when you look at who they're playing,
they could be due.
Right. Well, Beal's playing a tough. Beal's capable. Okay, that could happen any game, even if he's playing a tough team. Brown against Toronto. Toronto's terrible right now. This game they will be terrible. Based on the personnel that's on the floor. So maybe Brown goes off. Maybe it's a complete blowout. So it's possible. That's why I like it a little bit. Maybe put a little money on that, but I'm not too high on this one.
All right, not too high on this one. Brian, what about you? You like these guys to knock more than 3 from downtown?
Yeah, I'm actually going to take this one, even though the numbers don't really favor that. I'm less confident in Jaylen Brown. than I am Bradley Beal. I feel like Bradley Beal, almost by damn near necessity, is going to have to put up a lot of threes against the Clippers, and will probably, like, I'll just take my odds at him making 3 of them. And then with Jaylen Brown, it's a little bit similar because, like, I mean, he hasn't really made the threes. He's only shot 33% from 3 since February 9th. But he's getting the attempts. I'm looking at his box right now. He's only had 3 and 2 the last couple games. Before that, 6, 8, 10, 7, 7, 10. Like, he's getting the attempts. And with Kemba Walker playing better, I feel like that'll probably create some space for him. But, you know, plus 400, like that's tantalizing to me. So that's something that I would actually go for. Just not with a lot of money, but that's something I will go for tonight.
All right, throwing a little bit of money down on there. Gerard, what about you? Intrigued enough to throw some dollars on this one?
Yeah, man, stealing a little bit of my thunder. This is one of my keeping 100 picks that I'm going to be using later on. I like it. Yes, Jalen has been struggling from 3, so that means he's due. We know the 3-pointer is a high variance shot, right? You struggle for 4 games in a row. Next thing you know, you're shooting 80% for 3 games, right? And then it all evens itself out at the end of the day. So I like this, even though Bradley is playing the Clippers. I mean, it's Bradley Beal. He leads the league in scoring, right? So, like, he can go off at any time and do what he does. So I do like this at plus 400. I think the odds are decent enough. The one thing I'll say about that Toronto game is, you know, we talked about the Raptors not winning much and how they won't win that game. Check out any player props with Chris Boucher, because him and Norman Powell are the only 2 dudes that they got over there. So see what they have going on.
Yeah, that would go on. You can see Boucher getting some blocks or some rebounds. And
threes too.
Can definitely see that as well. All right, that's one. I think this is out of the 3 we're going to talk about tonight. This is probably your safest bet, I would say, or the one that's more intriguing to throw a couple dollars down in it. Don't love it, but yeah, I'd throw a couple on this too. Now, the next, the final parlay that we'll talk about, there's some overlap here with the last parlay we just spoke about. So this one is Jayson Tatum to record 10+ rebounds and Jaylen Brown to make 3+ 3-pointers. So maybe if you feel good about the previous prop, you might want to throw something about this, depending on how you feel about Jayson Tatum grabbing some boards. Brian, I would murder for Team Light Skin on this one with Jayson Tatum, but I decided I'll start with you.
I'm light skin too.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. We can put you right in there. Do you like the ability of Jayson Tatum to score, to get 10+ rebounds here? We kind of talked about Jalen with the 3-point shooting, but this is kind of really what this parlay rides on. Do you believe in Jayson Tatum against this Raptors team, which won't have much of an interior presence, to grab 10 boards?
So we've talked about these sort of plays, and I've used Trae Young as an example because he's been in a couple of them where he's kind of the guy, like, you need 3 threes and then he'll go 2 for 8. Like, this is the kind of thing that happens. With Jayson Tatum, he has 3 games this year, just 3 of 10 rebounds or more. All of them were 11. And only one of them was post-COVID, but he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games with 9 rebounds. He has 5 more with 8 rebounds, and he has a few with 7 as well. So he kind of gets right there. Now, if there was a team that I would think he can get the 10 rebounds against, other than like the Wizards and perhaps the Pistons, would be the shorthanded Toronto Raptors. And plus 550, I might take a chance on that. So that's something that I'm actually going to say yes to. Just why not? I don't love the odds, but the plus 550 is interesting. It's like, you know, if I put down 10, I can get 55 if Jayson Tatum gets 10 rebounds. I don't like the odds of him actually doing it because, like I said, he's only done it 3 times and once since COVID. But you know what? Why not?
Yeah, it could be interesting in terms of why not. What say you, Gerard? A little Celtics magic here for Jayson Tatum grabbing the 10 rebounds, 10+ rebounds?
I gotta stick to the bit, man. Fuck the C's. I ain't doing that. They went in the game, but they ain't getting this parlay. Look, Brown already said he's gonna hit his threes, but you know, Tatum the 10 boards. We know most of those boards got to be defensive because he's too busy shooting the ball on offense or about offensive rebounds, right? So I mean, maybe, you know, but it depends on who's he matched up against. Are they gonna box him out? Like, yeah, the 10 rebounds to me is a little shaky. So nah, I don't like this at all.
All right, Murph, what about you? Tatum on the boards here?
Yeah, no, I'm with Gerard. I just can't see it. You're right. Anything could happen. It could happen. He could be due for it, whatever. But to Brian's point, you know, the last time he did it was February 12th. The last time he had 10 rebounds. So I'm gonna pass. I'm already suspect on Brown hitting the 3+ 3s. So I just can't do it. The odds are decent, but I'm gonna pass.
Yeah, I got to pass on this one. Don't believe in Tatum getting the 10-plus rebounds here. I just can't bank on it. I can see how you would say that he's due, as Brian brought up, against this team, shorthanded in the matchup. But you could also see this being a blowout or a situation where, who knows, the Celtics decide to sleep tonight in the game defensively, and the Raptors actually shoot a good percentage, and there's not that many offensive chances for you. For them in terms of the Celtics, and then you got Gerard really saying "fuck the C." So
not to be able to do it.
Yeah, gotta stay away from this one. All right, want to remind everybody also, please, when you're looking to bet on the NBA, the place you got to go is propsnetwork.com. You can use the NBA betting tool. You get to see all the comparisons from the different draft houses and see what the odds are, just like we talk about here on the show. It's the way to go. It's the best place to see all the different spreads and payouts from all the legal sports books, all in one place on the propsnetwork.com. All right, guys, final segment of the night. You know what time it is. Keep it 100. The time of this show, other than the beginning of the show, where Brian gets to bring in violence in some part that aligns with betting. It always happens this week, so you're going to have to find out who he's going to put his money on to fight tonight. And he's extra pumped because the Heat are playing tonight. The fight night game hasn't come out. He's just really angry. That's just me. That's me keeping it 100. All right, I'm gonna start with Murph. Murph, how are you spending your $100 tonight? You have $100 to spend any way you want. Game, player props, over unders, however you want to do it. How are you spending your $100 tonight?
All right. There's not much that in the NBA I like. There are two NBA games. I'm going to do 25 apiece on Portland minus 4.5 versus Sacramento. Sacramento's pretty terrible. I gotta give you props for taking Sacramento last week, Dex. Because that was crazy, and you actually won it, and you actually were right. You had the nerve to pick one of the worst teams in the league.
The only time it'll happen, Murph. It's never going to happen again.
By that much, they came through for you. So the props for that. Came through. But 4.5 for Portland at Portland. Looks like everybody's playing. Dame is playing. I smell blowout there, so I'm high on that. Put 25 on that. Also, the game that we were going to talk about but did not. Phoenix minus 11.5 versus Golden State. No Steph, no Draymond. Smells like blowout. Remember how Golden State was getting blown out at the beginning of the year by like 30 and 40. I can see that happening tonight. So I'll put 25 on that. And then I'm gonna switch over to my favorite sport, college basketball, and I'm in the midst of doing an article on black coaches for the undefeated black coaches doing really well, coming out soon. So I'm going to give a little props to a couple of these teams. Oklahoma State is plus 12 at Baylor. Their coach is Mike Boynton, a young brother doing his thing. They're led by Cade Cunningham. We know he's, talk about the NBA. He's likely going to be the number one pick in the NBA draft. They're getting 12 points at Baylor. I know Baylor's great, but Oklahoma State has been playing really, really well. So I don't know if they'll win. I don't think they'll win the game, but I think they'll keep it close. And then also Texas and Shaka Smart are 2-point underdogs at Oklahoma. Both teams are NCAA tournament bound, but I think Texas is the better team, and I think they pull it out. So Texas and Oklahoma State on the college side.
All right, you got a little college basketball up in there. Good bet is that any of those coaches won't tell their players to stay on the plantation. You can definitely take that. You can definitely take that bet.
There you go.
You can definitely take that bet. That's for sure. Brian, we'll go with you. Let's get the violence out the way now. Why not? Brian, how are you spending your $100 tonight?
I had to think about this because the games tonight, not that great in terms of an overall slate. But I'm going to do 10 on the Brown and Beal 3-pointers parlay that we talked about earlier, three-pointers each. I'm going to put 10 more on the Tatum and Brown one. Why not? Tatum, 10 rebounds, and Brown, 3-pointers. I'm going to put 30 on Bradley Beal getting 40 points against the Clippers because why not? He just gets 40 points like every 2 weeks or something like that, sometimes even back-to-back games. I'm going to put 49 because I have 50 left. I'm going to put 49 on Julius Randle and Nikola Jokic, 22, 10, and 5. Both of them tonight. And one, this won't be like scuffle violent, but this will be like hellacious dunk violent. I think Zion Williams is going to get Kelly Olynyk tonight.
I like that. That's a good bet. I can see
That's
that.
Not even fair.
Because Kelly, look, people can say what they want about Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk is not a bitch. Like, he'll go after people. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll try to get the
when
block
you go
or
after
whatever.
people, you get dunked on.
It's Zion. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
and Zion always chooses violence. So,
Zion could dunk from his knees. You know what I mean? Like, he's a different dude.
Yeah, he might not be that, but after he gets dunked on, he might look like that. Gerard, how are you spending your 100 tonight?
I'm doing all parlays and player props and combinations of the two. First one, Celtics, Clippers, Nuggets, all to win, 25 on that. Mm-hmm. I'm doing Julius Randle, 25 points. Shouts to the Knicks fans out there, 25 on that. Bradley Beal, Jalen Brown, both to make 3+ threes, 25 on that. And 25 on Nikola Jokic and Justin Holiday to have 2+ steals.
What's the odds on that?
Plus 400.
I like it.
I like
that. Okay.
I like it.
I like that. All right,
I might have to add something to that.
Yeah, that's I actually like that one. I like the odds on that. That's enough to intrigue me. All right, so Murph brought up the fact that last week I bet on the Kings to end, I believe it was their 9-game losing streak at the time. And I watched it. I think they were playing Detroit, right? Murph, was Detroit they were playing. And
I can't remember.
I remember Detroit and Minnesota. It was some other bad team. It wasn't. Some other bad team. It doesn't matter. I think it was Minnesota, actually. Anyway, I was sweating that out, actually, because I almost thought they weren't going to cover, and they did. It was, I believe, it was -2, or they were +2, I think, in that game, actually. Anyway, yeah, they covered. Whatever, they got it done. It was close, and they got it done. I'm going to stay somewhat in that trend this week, and I'm going to put $25 on maybe not as bad as a team, but not really a good team. I'm going to put $25 on the Washington Wizards tonight. They are +7 against the Clippers. I think they're going to hang tight. I think Beal's going to go off for a good amount. I think Westbrook's going to do Westbrook stuff, what he does. And no Kawhi makes me think that the Clippers are going to clip somewhat. Maybe not enough to lose the game, but enough to keep the Wizards in the game. I like the Wizards to stay in this game within 3 to 5 points, maybe losing it by. I like that. So I'm going to put 25 on the Wizards there with the +7. I'm also going to put 50 rocking with my Knicks tonight. I think the Knicks, tough loss in San Antonio the other night. They want to close out the first half strong. Detroit is there. There's no Jeremy Grant. They will not give up triple doubles to Mason Plumlee and Dennis Smith Jr. That is not going to happen against a Tom Thibodeau-led defense. It better not happen because I will not be the good move. I'll be texting all of y'all tonight like, nah, whatever. $50 on the Knicks to get this done. And I was going to go with another player parlay, but I'm going to rock with Gerard on that one. I'm going to throw 25 on the Jokic and Justin Holiday to get 2+ steals. I like that. Good odds at +400. I'm going to put that into. That's my $100. One of these days, I'm going to add in some kind of violent act like Brian has in his betting. One day I will. All right, guys, we gotta run out of here quickly. We have a couple minutes. If you have questions on any games tonight, betting. Let us know. Any other player props you're interested in. We have a couple minutes. We'll answer a couple of questions or anything else you guys want to talk about. Brian, you have anything else you're angry about? What you got to say, Gerard? Go ahead.
I was going to say, enjoy the All-Star break, to take some time, recover, because, that's the second half of the season. We're on that hellacious every other night schedule heading towards the playoffs. So get some rest, DMPs, CDs, put your feet up, go to Cancun, whatever you got to do, get yourself ready. Because
don't go to Cancun.
I mean, that's true. Don't actually go to Cancun because we ain't trying to get COVID out here. But rest yourself up and get ready, man. Second half of the year, it's coming.
Second half of the year is coming if you can come back from Atlanta.
Are people going to come back from that?
I don't know, man.
Didn't someone post some itinerary? What's going on? Is that real?
Listen, man, all the club promoters out there have been putting out flyers and shit. All these rappers and everybody coming out. Keisha Lance Bottoms, Atlanta mayor, was like, nah, nobody come down to Atlanta. I'm like, you think they listening to you? These fools ain't trying to hear what you got to say. People are going out. Listen, if I'm the Nets, I'm sending security now. Yo, James, you ain't fucking going nowhere, dog. Nowhere. We not doing this. You're going to play the game, and you're coming straight back. Like, that's it.
He's like, yo, but the strip clubs are just too tantalizing.
Nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, you need security detail in front of James Harden's room. No question about it. If you don't do that, you're not doing your job.
Exactly.
that man might be out for sure. Eric Cheng says, if you guys aren't on NBA Top Shots yet, go research and invest. If you ever thought to yourself, I wish I got Bitcoins early on, this is your chance. Don't say I didn't share. Appreciate that.
It's already too late. They're already locking people out.
Yeah, it's already crazy. People have like long wait times to get these. People
don't have that much
highlights.
disposable income.
But here's I don't know how you guys feel about the NBA Top Shot thing, but my thing is, like, you remember how you had a baseball card or some sort of memorabilia back in the day? Let's say I had some memorabilia in my house and y'all came over. Well, yeah, I could show y'all, like, look, I got this jersey up on the wall. I got this ball or whatever that's autographed. How do you style on somebody or stunt with the NBA Top Shot? Like, I feel like you can't flex on anybody like that.
Yeah, it's a different kind of flex, right? It's just moving into the digital space. So they're backed by NFTs, right, which are non-fungible tokens, the same stuff they used to use to back blockchain, which is behind Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And the idea is this is where it's, think about it like the Louvre, right? The Mona Lisa, everybody knows that painting. The Louvre owns it, right? From what, I mean, I've been there. It seems like the original, but how the fuck would I know? But that's what it is, right? And so the idea is, because of everybody talking about it, there's pictures of it everywhere, the value of said piece increases, right?
Right.
That's the idea, right? So that's you own the digital imprint of this particular moment or player or what have you. I will say, because I'm doing an article on that. I've already been in the Top Shot chats. I got a couple moments, I got a couple things in there. It's quite interesting. It's I'm definitely the oldest person in there. It's really interesting because I'm like, man, what the hell y'all?
And the only non-white person in there.
I mean, yes. Oh, that's just not true. You know who's in there actually? Ross Goldon Woode, big into the NBA Top Shots.
Top Shot. Okay. All right. Shout out to Ross.
All right, so two.
Eric Chen makes a good point. Your bank account will do the flexing.
Indeed. That's the idea.
Facts. All right, that's it for this edition of NBA Picks and Props. We got to run. We'll talk more about Top Shot. We will be back on Sunday. We will announce the time. Check for us how you follow us on Twitter at the Props Network. There we'll be doing a special All-Star game preview show and everything that goes around the All-Star game. The dunk contest is going to be before the game. Excuse me, dunk contest is going to be at halftime. Ridiculous. The 3-point shootout and skills before the game.
Yeah.
Those will be. So we'll have stuff on that, breaking that down. Who we think is going to win, who we think is going to get All-Star MVP, who might get into a fight at the All-Star game because Brian. All those things will occur. Again,
how many people on quarantine when we get back?
Murph. I think that's a good bet to take, because there's going to probably be some people on quarantine. But we are keeping it safe for our viewers. We are not going to Atlanta, nowhere near there at all whatsoever. But please rock with us on Sunday. We'll let you know the time. We appreciate you guys watching. Shout out to Eric Cheng and everybody else that checked in for this. For my man Gerard Hector, the Angry Brian Fonseca, and Mr. Met Jamal Murphy, I'm Dexter Henry. Until next time on NBA Picks and Props,